Hello friends and fellow travelers, and thank you for joining me on this 2020 Nobi journey. So this is my February check-in of my 2020 Nobi year, and it was a very, very tough month. And I did break my Nobi rules. I'll go over that. I'll tell all of the details surrounding that and what I learned from doing that. And I'm not going to quit my journey. I'm not going to give up just because I broke my Nobi rules. But since I am using these videos as a tool for me to look back at myself and remember what I've gone through, and I have been doing that. I've been watching all my videos a lot, and they have been very, very helpful, especially that one that I posted about how I spent my money in 2019 and all of the goals that came out of that process. That one has been super, super helpful to me. I'm so thankful that I put that out there. And I've been wondering if I'm going to go into the personal details of why this month has been so difficult, and I am going to. I'm not going to go into very deep into it, but I am going to talk about the personal circumstances in which I broke my Nobi rules. I'm not trying to justify or anything like that, but just a reflection, a reminder, and this has almost turned into like a personal video diary for me. I know that there are a few people out there that are watching me and going along on this with me, and I greatly, greatly appreciate you guys. I love all the comments and encouragement that I'm getting. I also appreciate all my friends that are watching this because I have a chance to talk to them in real life about what I've said in these videos. And one of the things that have come from that, one of my friends made a comment to me probably in mid-January that she thinks that I'm being too hard on myself. And this project and this journey kind of inherently is about looking at the negative things or the perceived ways in which I've kind of messed up my life up until this point, which is not saving for my future, not learning how to save for my future, not learning self-control. And it's kind of shining a light on those characteristics in myself and putting that under a microscope and really just giving that a long, hard look and working through it and figuring out how I can change it. And I'll talk about in this video how I got really, really down on myself in February. So because of that comment that she made to me, that she feels like I'm being too hard on myself, I do want to start putting into every single one of my videos something that I am proud of about myself or that I like about myself. Just something along those lines, like an affirmation. The kinder I speak to myself, then the easier it will be for me to feel better about myself. So for this video, I am going to say that I'm proud of myself that right at the end of this month, right at the end of February, I, with my mother, did something called the Fight for Air Climb, which is a fundraiser for the American Lung Association. We climbed 54 flights of stairs. We climbed up the tallest building in downtown Denver, and we've done that for the past 3 years, and we've done that in honor of my grandmother. My grandmother's birthday is right at the beginning of March, and so it's so special to be able to do that with my mother. She's just my hero. I love my mother so much, and I'm so, so thankful to have her because she is an angel on this earth. So that is something that I am proud of. And I encourage those of you who are watching now to think of something you're proud of in your life, or something that you love about your life, or something that you like about the way you look. And just comment. I'd love to know that, and I'd love to have that be a part of my comment section. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the circumstances and the story about why I broke my no-buy rules and how I broke my no-buy rules. And again, I am not trying to justify this. I just want to have something to go back to remember where I was mentally when this happened, and maybe how I can handle things a little bit differently if something like this does happen again. I am going to rehash things here that are personal and uncomfortable, just like I did in my video where I talked about where I spent my money in 2019. But I think it's going to be very helpful to future gens, so you're welcome. So right after I posted that video of where I spent my money in 2019, I found out that there were going to be layoffs at my work, and I knew that the layoffs were going to happen pretty much, you know, the first 2 weeks in February. So finding this out obviously sent me into a downward spiral of just worry and anxiety. I was pretty sure that I was going to be one of the people that was going to be laid off. And I think I felt this way because this wouldn't have been the first time that I have been laid off. I was laid off from my dream job in 2015. I was laid off for 8 months till like mid 2016. So after just having found this spark of hope and having made these goals that I'm going to, you know, save $15,000 and pay off my car this year, I learned that I would probably be losing my job, and that just again sent me down a spiral of just worry and anxiety, and really just like self-loathing of like, how could you be so reckless in these past few years. I was really mad at myself for not learning my lesson the first time around, that I do have a really great salary and a really great job, but it's not guaranteed. And I had about 2 weeks to wait around until they actually happened. And it wasn't during those 2 weeks that I broke my no-buy rules. However, I did get into just self-sabotage mode. Like, I was spending a lot of time just laying in my bed, watching YouTube, watching specifically not just YouTube, but YouTube about new makeup releases and will I buy it or not, or anti-hauls and stuff like that, and just really torturing myself. And I do have to keep in mind that February traditionally is the worst month for me. And during that time it was snowing for like pretty much a week and a half straight. It was extremely cold. I was not able to walk my dogs as much, so I wasn't getting any exercise, and I basically just wanted to be laying in bed watching YouTube. So that is what I did. And again, it was not during that time that I broke my rules. Every time I wanted something, I went ahead and took a screenshot of it like I had been doing. So when the day came, when layoffs came, I made it through. I made it through layoffs. However, my 2 best friends did not. And it was at that time that I realized how important those 2 relationships are to me. You know, I think I've said this in a previous video, but I am single, I live alone. And so those relationships that I had at work were the most important relationships to me on a day-to-day basis. Those were the people that I went in and talked to every single day about, you know, everything. And when those 2 relationships got taken from me, I lost it. I was in my office just crying, and I found out pretty early in the morning, like at 9 o'clock in the morning, that it was happening. And my boss said, "You're safe. Now hold tight until the afternoon when everything is done and we have a meeting with everybody left talking about what's going to happen going forward." And that is when I broke my no-buy rules. As soon as that happened, I got onto Nordstrom Rack and just started shopping. And I very clearly remember the point at which I knew I was going to break my rules. It was like I was watching myself from a bird's eye view. It was like I knew I was going to break my rules. I didn't care. I wanted some relief at that moment. And I was just like, be quiet, I'm doing this right now. I can't handle what I'm feeling right now. So this is something that I felt like I needed to do. I bought 3 things totaling about $150, and I made those purchases and I got 0 relief from the grief and the sorrow that I was feeling in that moment. And and I made a note of that, and I remembered that, and that is something that I'm thinking about a lot. Like I didn't get that rush of dopamine. I didn't get that feeling. In fact, it made me feel a little bit worse because I had broken my rules. I knew that I was gonna have to do this video and talk about it and be accountable for it. And I did not return them. I just want to put that out there, that I kept the 3 things that I did purchase. I kind of was a little bit worried about getting into a cycle where, you know, I go through the motions of buying something and purchase something, then to just send it back. And maybe that was like kind of a way to get around my no-buy rules. So I decided not to do that, and I suffered the consequences of buying those things. I had to cancel a trip that I had planned with my friends. We had just a little day trip planned to go up to a little hot springs. Because I made those purchases, I was not able to do that. I had to cancel on them, and I had to tell them why, because I didn't have any money because I spent it. So just going through those thought processes, dealing with those consequences, knowing that like I had to be home that day and I had to cancel on people because I made this decision, was eye-opening, because it's not something that I really thought of before. Like I was just, you know, buying so much, and then I'd be broke and not be able to do anything. But I didn't really connect that to the fact that I had bought all of these things. Now that I made that, you know, conscious observation that buying those things didn't give me any relief from that grief and that sorrow, that maybe when I'm tempted to do something like that in the future, I'll look back on that situation and remember that, oh wait, that didn't make you feel better last time you tried that. So then once I mourned and grieved and all of that anxiety and negativity and anger and worry dissipated, I had zero desire to buy anything. Obviously, since I kept my job, I felt like I was given a chance, and now I'm just focused so much on my short-term emergency fund goals, which is to save $15,000 and also to pay off my car this year. I'm also thinking about ways in which I can maximize my current salary. Now that I've had a reminder that it's not guaranteed, I really want to maximize that, and I'll maybe talk about some ways in which I'm thinking about doing that at the end of this. Oh, I am at the end of this story. So what did I learn from this whole experience? The number one thing I think is just how important those friendships are to me. I could not believe the amount of heartache I was feeling that night. Like I literally felt like I was going through a breakup. I felt like my heart was being ripped out, and even though it was really tough to go through, I want to remember that feeling because those relationships are so important to me. And if they weren't, I would not have felt like that. So I just want to remember that. I just want to make sure that I am putting in the effort to keep these women in my life because they are so, so, so very important to me, and I hope they both know that. So the second thing I learned was that shopping doesn't give me the same effect that it did before I started this. Now that I am so conscious of what I am doing and what I am spending my money on, that pulling the trigger on those purchases pretty much gave me the opposite effect of what I was hoping for. I was hoping for that hit of dopamine, and it didn't give me that. In fact, it made me feel guilty and it made me feel bad. So I want to keep that in mind for next time I turn to shopping when I'm feeling bad. I just want to remember that it doesn't alleviate. I need to remember that whatever I'm going through in the moment is temporary and it will pass, and things will be better. I'm already feeling a lot better. I feel like I'm out of the February funk, the February fog. As always, thank you so much for watching this. I so appreciate every single one of you that's watching and taking this journey with me. It really does mean a lot. I will see you next time. Bye.
Open up, you OPN, bitch, you won't BBM. We should be closer than friends.